Have you ever struggled with performance anxiety? Have you ever had that fear at the pit of your stomach about stepping out on stage, whether for an audition or for a performance or for anything at all? Well, I get it because I've absolutely been there. In fact, I remember my very first panic attack was in music school. It was for a jury and I was literally on stage. I didn't know what this thing was and I don't know how I got through the songs, but I did. And when I got off stage, I didn't really have a frame of reference or anyone to talk to about what it was that I had just experienced. And so that unprocessed trauma has followed me throughout my career to the point where I have experienced stage fright at auditions and in big performances in front of thousands of people. So when I say I know something about stage fright and performance anxiety, you can trust me, it's true. That's why I am so excited to share with you today some really practical skills and reframes and strategies to help you in case you too have anxiety around performing. Hi, I'm Fiona, and it's my passion and my purpose to help you, singers, actors, dancers, and musicians with all things mindset, marketing, and monetization so you can truly rock your business and become profitable. Subscribe to my channel, join my free Facebook group, follow me on Instagram, all the rest. Now let's dive in. Why is the performance anxiety on my mind right now? Well, recently I did my first Facebook challenge in quite some time. I had done some before, but I hadn't done one this year. And already, I would say at first I was super excited about it. But I added to the mix running ads to the Facebook challenge for the first time too. This meant that I had a lot more eyeballs, a lot more actual people coming into the Facebook group and coming to the challenge, registering for it. This was very exciting, but it also triggered a bunch of fear inside me around trolls, around people not liking it, around performing for more people in a live setting online like I hadn't done before. And as I was supporting myself, as I was leading myself through this experience, I realized that I needed to share with you some of the strategies, hacks, tips, etc. that I've developed over the years in order to be able to show up fully and authentically online even when I feel anxious or scared. And I'm going to share all of it with you today. Sound good? So my first tip is actually a perspective or mindset shift. What I would love for you to start doing is instead of thinking of conquering or overcoming your stage fright, start thinking of it more as a reframe that in fact, the excitement, the adrenaline that starts to pour through you when you're thinking about going live or performing is actually a good thing. When we think about our stage fright or our performance anxiety in an overcome or conquering kind of way, we're creating resistance that doesn't need to be there. We don't actually have to resist the fear. What would happen if you stopped resisting it, stopped pushing against it? Because what we push against actually grows bigger. We're thinking about it more. It's taking up more of our time and our energy and our mental capacity. Instead of pushing against, instead of building this resistance, why not flow with it and start to reframe it as a positive kind of adrenaline that kicks in to give you exactly the kind of energy you need to show up fully excited and on fire for whatever it is that you're doing? Does that make sense? That's the first reframe. Now for me, with my classical background, there was a focus always on perfect. There was a focus on the minutia of the exact intonation of every single vowel and every single note. Now I've got to tell you that this kind of detailed focus on the details that honestly I didn't really care about and I wasn't super passionate about made me develop this sort of relationship to performing where I had to be perfect on things that I didn't really care that much about. And so my next tip is another reframe, and it really has to do with where you put your focus in terms of the why are you performing or going live in the first place. What's the real purpose? Is the purpose to be perfect, or is the purpose to create art? Is the purpose to be perfect, or is the purpose to move your audience in some meaningful way? So start shifting your focus away from having to get it right to making it meaningful. All right? Now, the third thing is to really think about, why are you anxious? What is the mental loop that is going on in your head? Is there a mental loop? If there is a mental loop and it's negative, it typically follows a what if negative kind of pattern. What if I bomb? What if I can't remember what I'm supposed to say? What if I forget the lyrics? What if I go out of tune? What if, what if, what if? What if they don't like me? Now, the reframe here is to start thinking of this as, what if it goes well? Because it's just as likely to go well as to not go well. But when you start to build the momentum of, what if it goes well? What if this is the best performance of my life? What if everybody loves it and cheers and gives me a standing ovation? What if I love it? What if this is the most meaningful onstage experience that I've ever had in my entire life? Do you see how the momentum starts to go in this really positive direction as opposed to the other direction? Now, sometimes you may actually notice that the adrenaline is making you feel anxious, but that the adrenaline, like we were saying at the beginning, is not a bad thing. It's there to give you energy. It's there to help you go on this roller coaster ride that is live performance, so that you can be spontaneous and act in the moment and take risks. So having adrenaline is not bad. It's just when there's a mental thought loop that is taking you in a negative direction that we really get the problem. Make sense? Let me know in the comments if this is all landing. What I found myself experiencing was this sort of waiting for my cue. It was like I was waiting in the wings to go on. And I thought, hey, if I have this feeling of waiting in the wings to go on, why don't I lean into all of my actual performance practices and rituals? Don't you have those certain rituals and certain practices that you do to help you to get in the zone before performance? Now, sometimes this may be a certain meal, it may be a walk, it may be doing your hair and makeup. For me, doing my hair and makeup before performance has always been one of my favorite performance routines. So what are yours? And if you don't have any, I highly encourage you to start developing them. Think about what really serves you before performance and then start always doing that. And then that creates this momentum for you as you do more and more performances of, I'm getting into the performance zone, whether that's your deep breathing, your exercising, your glass of water, your glass of tea, your way in which you do your hair or your makeup, what you listen to, or your meditation. It doesn't matter what it is, provided that it's meaningful and grounding to you. And the most important thing about these rituals and routines is that they bring you into the present moment so that you stop what I call future tripping. That's where you're imagining those what if something bad happens, and it lands you right here in the center of the moment that you are actually in, where everything is going great. So a couple of the things that I did before going live in my Facebook group: warming up my voice as though I was warming up for a singing performance. I always warm up my voice, and that feels so good to me before going live. I'm a pro voice user, and so warming up my speaking voice just as I would warm up my singing voice brings me into the zone. I did my hair and makeup. As I shared, that's one of my favorite performance practices as well. I made sure that I was hydrated. I made sure that I ate. I also did a grounding exercise where I imagined a cord that flowed from the base of my spine into the center of the earth and from the crown of my head up to the heavens. And I felt that connection to God and Source. And I asked for God and Source to flow through me and give me the words that were going to be of most impact and most help to the people that were listening. Connecting your pre-performance rituals to your faith, to your sense of the universe, God, Source, whatever it is that is meaningful to you, that changes everything, because it reminds you of why you're showing up in the first place. And when you remember your why, all the fear dissipates. I hope that these tips around stage fright, I hope that the reframing around performance anxiety is truly helpful for you. And if it was, then I encourage you to join my free Facebook group where I have a ton of exclusive free content. Subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram, and all the rest. Now, if you have an idea for a future YouTube video or you have a question, let me know in the comments. And once again, if you enjoyed this video, you may find these videos useful as well. Now, as always, go out into the world and let your light shine. You deserve to be heard, and the world deserves to hear you.